Hi everyone, I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. Here we have an image of Old Faithful. This has been taken from the static cam still pictures. This is what it was doing, the activity, yesterday, Wednesday, December 30th. Today is New Year's Eve. Tomorrow will be the first day of the New Year's, and I want to wish everyone Happy New Year. I want to go into more detail about things that are happening there at Yellowstone, mostly for the new people that are watching, and explain a little bit better for the new ones that are subscribed and watching different little details you may have questions about. USGS today is only reporting one earthquake for the Yellowstone area and the Snake River Plateau, that being a magnitude 3.1. 4.8 kilometers in depth. And then using Google Earth, here's the location of that earthquake. Let me bring this out for you. I want to explain about the Sawtooth. That's the Sawtooth Fault Zone. Yeah, it's a pretty long fault zone. There was a magnitude 6.5 back on March 31st of this year. This fault zone has seemed to have reactivated within the last year, or within a year's time. And there's been a lot of significant earthquakes. Magma is in this area. There's a lot of hot springs in this area. But what makes it so significant is that it comes down to the Snake River Plateau. The Snake River Plateau is this flat area, which used to have mountains, but was blown out because of past eruptions as the Yellowstone hotspot moved up towards the northeast. There's still a lot of areas within this zone that allows dike intrusion of magma to erupt. Here we got an area that erupted about 12,000 years ago. But over here at the craters of the moon, that was an eruption that happened within the last 2,000 years. Native American legends talk about this magma flow, and they talk about how it was a fight between a serpent that wrapped around a mountain, and a magma erupted from it. So people were around and living in this area when this area had a large eruption, and it's called Craters of the Moon. There was recent studies shown that not only it was the eruption of basalt-type magma, which is a slow-flowing, thick magma, but also rhyolite. And rhyolite is a very explosive lava. It has a higher content of silica. And that was from a chemical analysis within the last couple of years that they found that there was, in fact, rhyolite lava flows in this area. So here on 3 of the monitors is that magnitude 3.1 that they are reporting. I extracted the earthquake wave. Here we got 11:45. It showed up at Yellowstone. Now that's the only earthquake they're reporting. That is that one right there. But you can see we got one earthquake prior to that is on 3 different monitors. Up here we have the borehole. It's a very deep well dug at least 500 feet under the ground that shows up at Yellowstone Lake. Now this monitor at Yellowstone Lake is up here, what they call the fishing bridge. This is where the Yellowstone River flows out of Yellowstone Lake. Here's an example of a borehole. Now this one's at Madison River. And you can see this one here is 680 feet under the ground, where they have the strain meters. About 661 feet. They have the monitors for the earthquakes and the casing. And then at the top, they have a cap of cement, so it does not pick up any outside noise whatsoever. Notice they got here rhyolite flow at the Madison River area also. So we got up here is Yellowstone Lake's monitor, West Thumb, Little West Thumb, and the promontory. There's an earthquake here that's not being reported. I'll extract that. Right there, it occurred there at the lake. There was another one and another one prior to that. That was at 8:14 Universal Time. There's been a lot of earthquakes there, mostly at the promontory, and this is significant. That is the promontory on the right. This is very significant because of the location. Here we have the promontory, and it extends down through this little thumb that sticks up through Yellowstone Lake. Okay, let me go back up over here. And the reason it's so promontory, or it's so important, is that there is a crack at the bottom of the lake. There's a deep canyon, 390 feet deep, where dike intrusion has been constantly trying to come up. It hasn't broke through. The magma is under the ground. Lava is called magma when it still is under the ground, has not broke surface. Once the magma breaks the surface of the earth, it's then called lava. But there's this crack of rhyolite, and they know it's rhyolite trying to come up in this location. A couple months ago, there was a lot of earthquakes down south here, by these two lakes. This one here being Heart Lake. The reason Heart Lake is so significant is that during the last major eruption of the unzipping of the caldera there at Yellowstone, they call it a zipping effect because it kind of erupts like a pulling of a zipper. It started up by the Madison River area and then erupted going counterclockwise. And when it reached the Madison River area, or when it reached the Heart River area, the two resurgent domes, and Yellowstone has two resurgent domes, they collapsed at the same time, creating the super eruption. We got the Sour Creek resurgent dome, which is up over here, and then we have the Mallard Lake resurgent dome, which is that hill that you can see behind the Yellowstone Old Faithful live webcam, which has not been online for, going on 3 months now. So I have noticed of late there at the promontory, at the southern end of this crack where the rhyolites come up, we got an increase in activity. Each earthquake marked in red was marked by the computer as a significant earthquake, where the geologists are supposed to come in and review it and supposed to post for us to see what is going on there at Yellowstone. But none of these have been posted. Let's start with this one right here at 2:12 and 30 seconds. That is at the borehole at Yellowstone Lake. This one here is at West Thumb. Oops, excuse me, got the wrong one. Wrong signature I want to show you. And then the promontory. It looks like most of the magma that came up, remember it's called magma when the lava is under the ground, was at the Yellowstone Lake Fishing Bridge Monitor. And we'll look at the signatures. Right there, it's got a small P wave on it. A P wave is the first shaking of the earthquake. You don't feel the shaking. It is the sound of the earthquake as it travels directly through the earth. And then the shaking is the S wave that comes afterwards. So it's got a small P wave on here. Again, the P wave is the sound. The S wave is the shaking. And we'll look at some more that are in red. Alright, 7:31 and 30 seconds. Here we have Yellowstone Lake, borehole, West Thumb, and then the promontory. It looks like West Thumb was more significant. And we'll look at the earthquake signature. Looks like a little blip there. Again, this has got a P wave on it. Oh, wrong button. Right there, see? P wave and then the S wave. And let's look at some more of these that are not being reported. Alright, let me go back to this. Alright, we got one right here. And it's on 3 different monitors. So you know it is in fact an earthquake and not sound or snowmobiles or anything like that. Yellowstone Lake at 721, West Thumb, and the promontory. This time it looks like West Thumb is more significant. Using Google Earth, here's West Thumb or Little West Thumb. Now this was created by a hydrothermal explosion. The water underneath heated up and it just blew all out. And then the water from Yellowstone Lake ran into it. There's a lot of areas around here. Duck Lake Formation was a hydrothermal explosion. That happened about 4,000 to 6,000 years ago. But this one they figured was about 162 to 150,000 years ago. Up over here at the northern end of Yellowstone Lake, we got other areas of hydrothermal explosions. Indian Pond was one. And then up over here we have areas that I got marked out for other hydrothermal explosions. You can see the discoloration. And then we got another area marked out in green where the ground has uplifted under the lake. Yeah. Yellowstone has 2 areas where the magma flows into the caldera. One from the Snake River Plateau, there by the Sawtooth Range, which I showed you the earthquake they are reporting. And then another one comes all the way up from the Gulf of California, travels up, going north, and then comes up towards the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome. And then the magma flows under the lake, or close to under the lake, going west, and this is the area of uplift. Here's a good example of uplift drawn out by USGS. Alright, and they got some explanations down here at the bottom. 1923 through 1975 uplift contours. The Elephant Back Fault Zone, which is up near the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome. Lots of faults up over there. The outline of the caldera rim. And then in dots, the uplift area for the Mallard Creek Resurgent Dome. Like I said, that is what you see on the Old Faithful webcam. And then the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome. Robert Smith, Bob Smith, who has worked at the University of Utah for about 50 years, believes that the next eruption is going to happen up here by the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome. So using Google Earth, I tried to draw out the area of the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome. And this is the area of the new thermal burning of the trees that was discovered, last year? I believe it was. Trees that had died and fallen were found to have turned to charcoal, burned from the ground up. As they laid there, they actually burned up because of the heat rising in this area and turned these fallen trees to charcoal. Robert Smith, Bob Smith of the University of Utah, feels that the eruption will be at least as large as what Mount St. Helens was, if not larger. But then you got the threat of the 2 resurgent domes collapsing at the same time. And if that was to happen, you would have the unzipping, and you would have a major super eruption that would change life on Earth for a very long time, and probably decrease the world's population by about 90% within the first year. They don't know when it's going to happen. They don't predict when it's going to happen. They just know that the next eruption, Bob Smith believes the next eruption, will be in this area. And that's because of the thermal activity, the uplift that's occurring there, and all kinds of other scientific stuff. But when I see activity, which has probably only occurred within the last 6 months, increase in activity at Yellowstone Lake, which feeds into the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome, Yeah, I think it's coming sooner than what they hope for. They're hoping that there will be earthquake swarms prior to an eruption to give warning that it's going to happen, but a warning, yeah, might help some people get out of the area, but there's nothing anyone can do to stop the eruption of Yellowstone. I've talked about the thickening of the lines. This is magma on the move coming into the system. The actual term for this that they call it is blobs of magma coming in. I'll show you the signature here. Right there at Fishing Bridge, Yellowstone Lake, Little West Thumb, and then the promontory. These are harmonic tremors. What are harmonic tremors? Using Google and doing a search, here it says harmonic tremor is a sustained release of seismic and infrasonic energy typically associated with the underground movement of magma. The venting of volcanic gases from magma, or both, is a long-duration release of seismic energy, with distinct spectral lines that often precede or accompanies a volcanic eruption. A prolonged time frame of harmonic tremors of 20 minutes, and then when the goes silent. The reason it would go silent is because the sound would get so loud that the monitors would not pick it up as an indication that an eruption would be coming. That is not being shown here, the silencing. Before the eruption of Mount St. Helens in, 1980, they did not even know about harmonic tremors. Because of the eruption of Mount St. Helens, a lot of new information was learned from that eruption. In past videos, I showed you how it went briefly quiet, which was very disturbing, and that has happened within the last year or so. Here we got some more harmonic tremors. Let's look at the signature of that. I want to go back down here real quick too. These lighter colors is what I call the line of melt. What is melt? Melt is like these little pockets of magma that have heated, some have cooled down, that are still up there by the crust of the earth. There is areas there at Yellowstone where we have these pockets of melt, some 5% melt, some 35% melt. It all depends on what's going on there at Yellowstone. Okay, think of the pockets of melt as the holes in a sponge. As the heat comes up, rising up, these pockets melt of magma. And because not all magma melts at the same temperature. Kind of like a candy bar laying on a hot surface, and it slowly melts from the bottom going up. These are the pockets of melt. This here is pockets of melt, this lighter color. This one here actually isn't, but down here we can see a lighter color. Right through there, a lighter color. Pockets of melt. This is what it was showing when I pulled the file. Pockets of melt. Let me go over here. Pockets of melt. And over here at the promontory. Okay, promontory, West Thumb, and the fishing bridge, the borehole for Yellowstone Lake. So I pulled it up a little bit so you can see what's going on at the promontory. All the earthquakes, look at them all marked in red. West Thumb, and then the borehole at Yellowstone Lake. Here in Wikipedia we have different seismic signatures. Tectonic signatures, shallow volcanic earthquakes. Notice the difference? And then surface events and harmonic tremors. Okay, Yellowstone Lake, blobs of magma coming in. West Thumb, and then the promontory. See how it goes up and down, up and down? Harmonic tremors, shallow volcanic earthquakes. Yeah, it's not a tectonic earthquake, and then it's not a surface event. Magma on the move. What we have going on here at Yellowstone Lake Monitor. Think of a garden hose where there is dike intrusion trying to come up, magma trying to come up, and there's a blockage in that hose, and then suddenly it breaks through and it goes boom, boom. Okay, here we have West Thumb, And here we have the promontory. Let me jump around here to some of the... Well, let's look at the wrong one. The signature. Or the spectrogram. See the line of melt up here? Very faint. Pockets of melt. Of melted rock. And this is what it was showing when I pulled the files this morning. I'll bring it down. This goes into yesterday. And we'll bring it down. And then we'll bring this one down, which is West Thumb. Yeah, see the magma on the move? Let's look at the signature. And we'll bring this one down. Look at all the ones marked in red. A lot of earthquakes that match up that they are not reporting. You know it's an earthquake when it shows up at 2. And I usually go by 3 different monitors. An example, that one. 3 different monitors. You know, the one below that. You can see we got 2 more here. 1 there. They all line up at 3 different monitors. And this is what it was showing when I pulled the file. Definitely harmonic tremors at the promontory. See that? Let me go back to that image. Do I still have it open? Yes, I do. Again, using Google Earth, this is the area of the promontory. And I talked about the earthquake swarm. That occurred on... what date here? The 9th of December. But there's been a lot more swarms going on that they're just not reporting. They don't want to create a panic. Like I said, there's nothing you can really do to stop it other than be prepared with your own supplies. But the globalists, the powers that be, want to keep making the money as long as they can. Keep raking in. They don't want property prices to deflate unless, of course, they want to go in and buy it for pennies on the dollar. They want the stock market to keep bringing in the money so they can stock up on their gold or buying property in Africa or wherever they're going to try and evacuate to when Yellowstone does go off. They don't care about us. To us, we're nothing more than cattle. We're a commodity. A slave that they can use to make more money. Yeah, they have no empathy for us. They have no concern about us whatsoever. This is why these earthquakes are not being reported. There's a surplus in population. They're bringing in robotics and AI. They want to decrease the world's population. They got plans for that. They have also plans to get rid of hard currency. They want to go to the digital currency. We already know that within the next few months there's going to be massive food shortages. Yeah, there's so much going on in the world that most people don't even know about. Definitely been an increase in volcanic activity, increase in earthquakes in some very unusual places. Look at Kansas, the state of Kansas. They have been having an earthquake swarm there by Kansas City. Unheard of. Yeah, tornadoes, but earthquakes? After an eruption, whenever Yellowstone decides to go off, I have no idea. It's up to God. 90% of the world's population would be dead from either starvation, disease, whatever. I don't plan to be part of that 90%. I do everything I can to stock up on food and medical supplies, survival, water purification type equipment. Yeah, I do not plan for myself or my family, my grandchildren, to be that 90%. You know, if you stock up on food, it's kind of like a way to fight against inflation if you never end up using it, right? So it's not like it's wasted. Yeah, I'm not a slave. I'm not a commodity. It's every man, woman, and child for themselves during the disaster. Remember Hurricane Katrina? How it took a month for people to get into the stadium to rescue those people that were stranded there at the stadium. A month to get help. And so many people think that Big Brother, the government's going to come in and rescue your butt. They're not. You're a commodity. You're cattle to them. They don't care about you. They have no empathy for us. So I hope some of this information opened your eyes a little bit, gave you a little bit more insight into what's going on there at Yellowstone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for support. Please stay safe, and I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.